again. Life. You never know what you're going to get. So you just have to just be prepared for that pitch. And if you can hit a home run, you hit a home run. And if you can't, you will hit a home run next time. But thank you for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. I have Rita here. And the reason that I want to talk to Rita is because she's an amazing mom, wife, has two beautiful boys. She's an inspiration to us all. I'm just so proud of her. So proud of her. And how she just developed into this fantastic flower. And I just want to let her know that I see you, I cheer you, I celebrate you. I want to give you your flowers while you're alive so you can smell them. And I want you to know how proud I am of you. So Rita, please come to my
Ah, hi,
show.
Danny. Oh my
How
God, I
are
love
you?
you. You look beautiful. I know you're giving me my flowers, but I want to tell you that I'm proud of you. You're going to make me cry because what you're doing is a phenomenal thing for everybody. Okay. And you need that support yourself because I remember coming into a particular industry and you were always 100 with me. You were very supportive. I know it's about me, but Danny, your platform is amazing. Keep going. I'm here to support you no matter what because you are a real one. You like support just about anybody that I've known. You know, you have an amazing charismatic way about you. You have so many friends and
Oh,
you're
thank
just a great
you.
person. Okay. Your daughters are beautiful, but
Thank you so much. It's been a long
absolutely.
road,
It
but
has.
I go with what where God leads me,
Hmm.
because
That's
I
beautiful.
realized as I got older, when I trust like my instincts, it works out
Right.
better that way than me thinking I
Yes.
know everything and
Yes.
not following my energy or my instincts and me
Mm.
going like off the rail. And then
Right.
sometimes when you do that, sometimes
Yeah.
God has a way of like pulling you back in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know what?
Yeah, so
And it's
you're
yeah.
an
And I
amazing woman and I'm so proud
thank
that
you.
I have an amazing group of
Hmm.
tribe members. I've known you
Yeah.
forever and we were
Yes.
talking about the pandemic and just
Yeah.
navigating just being a mom in this craziness, and
Mm.
you are married, so you and your husband
Right.
make this fantastic team. But as
Thank
a woman,
you. Yeah.
sometimes a lot of
Hmm.
the responsibilities, just
Right.
because of the way life is designed, is really put on
Right.
us.
Right.
And if we want our babies to succeed, we
Yeah.
have learned to multitask and doing
Mm.
like five things at
Absolutely.
once. And
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
sometimes don't respect that, but
Right.
to make amazing humans on this earth,
Right.
to make amazing citizens on this earth, I tell
Yes.
moms every day, you have to give your babies your all.
You
And I
have
know you
to.
get tired
Hmm.
because
Oh
I
my
get
God. Yeah.
tired, but they have
Absolutely.
only us, really. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
because
Right.
we were the first ones that they saw. They know our smell, they know our scent, and they know
Yeah.
mama's supposed to lead them.
The right
And
way.
not saying
Yeah.
dads don't matter, because of course that they do, they bring something to the spectrum and stuff like that.
Right.
Dads, good dads,
Right.
amazing dads, we need you too. You are part of this, making
Absolutely.
our kids great
Yeah.
citizens. But we were
Yeah.
talking about the pandemic and just how
Right.
to navigate the system, especially with
Right.
school.
Oh my God, yeah. And oh boy, I have stories for you, Danny, for days. And you know, you've been like a great sounding board for me. And I'm sure I've been one for you as well, because we both have children. We want them to succeed. And I think every mother in the world and father, they want the kids to succeed. And why wouldn't you? Right. So my thing is like where I get my energy from is from my mom. You know, my mom was a single parent. I mean, I come from like a third world country, Cape Verde. I came here when I was 7. My mom made a commitment to us and to God that she would be, our mother and our father because they didn't, they split up at a very young age. And she would get up every day, Danny, I kid you not, 5 a.m. in the morning from Brooklyn, New York, take the A train all the way to like Dykeman. So she worked in a factory and I took that strength from her. I'm like, if my mom could get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, what's my excuse? You know what I mean? So that was one priority I had for myself during the pandemic is that I'm here, we're all in lockdown, my kids are home, they're being homeschooled by me. What is it that I'm doing for myself and for my children? So the first thing I thought about was my mom. I got up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I went to the gym. That was my first thing. had to jump on a Zoom call for work, and that was great. And then I had my kids that I was homeschooling for a whole year. But you know what? I said, if my mother could do it, I took that strength from her and I did it. She was getting up and taking a train. I'm home. I mean, what was my excuse? I just had to climb up the stairs and go down where my mother was catching a subway all the way to the end of like Dykeman to, and at the time in the 80s, you know how Brooklyn was. It was like, it wasn't the best neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Like, luckily she had, you know, older brothers and siblings that she would walk with and things like that. And she would be home taking care of my brother and I after school. So that was the first thing. I'm like, when my mom passed away, I took the torch. You know what I mean? She was my pride and joy, and she was my hero, and she was my role model. So what excuse did I have? You know? And then also having two boys, two African American boys that, number one, need to be successful in this country. There's no like, I don't
There's
believe in
no like,
failure.
you remember
There's
when
no
our parents used
excuses.
to say to us that we have to work twice as hard, do
Right.
twice as good. You know,
Yeah.
you're good where you think is enough is not enough. I
Right.
remember having to make my parents like so proud of me. Like we
Right.
busted our butts just
Yes.
because we knew that they were waking up at 5 in the morning doing, you know,
Yes.
my parents were doing 2 or 3 jobs. I could
Yes.
not even disappoint I
Yeah.
couldn't disappoint my mom or my dad because
Yeah.
they were they were sacrificing themselves to make sure we get the best education because they learned in this country
Absolutely.
if you don't have the best education, it's
Right.
hard to make it. You have to get through the school system. You have to
You
get through
do.
you have to get
Yeah.
through this hurdle that they put in front of you. And sometimes, you
Absolutely.
know, it's hard because
Yeah.
I pray for the kids who don't live in the best in the areas,
Right.
who don't get to go to the best of schools. And
Right.
I'll go and mentor them and say, look, I
Mm-hmm.
understand this is your circumstance,
Right.
but don't make this define your whole future. Don't make this
Right.
situation think that you're not going to be someone great. You're not going
Right.
to be worth loving. You know, this,
Right.
I know this
Yeah.
stinks,
Right.
but go to school, and
Right.
it might not be the best school, but you know,
Right.
study hard, work hard, learn your math, learn, you know, if you
Right.
can just get good grades,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can get a scholarship, but it's
Right.
actually navigating the system. And I tell parents they have to be involved in the school.
They do. But you know, the issue is like, for example, like someone like my mom that was a single parent, that's difficult. And we all understand that. You know what I mean? Or if you had a parent that couldn't take the day off because if they didn't work, they didn't get paid. You know what I mean? They didn't have specific benefits or resources to guide us. But like you navigate, you find your way through it. Like I said before, I had a great mother that provided, but I knew also at the schools there are great people there too. You know, there are some that are not so great, but there are some that are great. Like they're there to help you. And one thing that I learned too, just show up. Show up. Showing up is better than not showing up at all. You know what I mean? If you're there
And that's
every
why I'm
day.
kind of happy like the
Right.
pandemic has its pluses, because now
Right. Yeah.
parents can do Zoom parent night through Zoom. You know,
Exactly.
before they would give you
Right.
like a schedule and you had to be there on that schedule. And if you miss it, you just
Right.
miss it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
they didn't really care. You were
Yeah.
coming all the way from the city to the suburbs, or you had like,
Right.
you come from Far Rockaway going to the Bronx on the train.
Right.
They didn't care. It's like, this is the
Right.
time. If you don't make it, that means you're not
Yeah.
involved in your kid's life. So
Right.
I'm kind of happy with the pandemic now.
Right.
Teachers are
Yeah.
doing Zoom. So,
Yes.
because mostly all of us, I'm praying, has a phone
I
where if we
know.
can't be there
Well,
physically, we
yeah.
can at least do parent teachers night
Yeah. Well, that's
through
the
our
thing
phone.
is also resources. You know what I mean? Like, are the proper resources being distributed to the right areas? And if you have a great school or great representation, they are. There are some people that may need broadband, you know, in certain areas. Like, there's certain areas that don't have those type of resources, and that's the issue. Like, that's always been the issue, though. You know, you take away the pandemic, you take away everything else. Like, we have always had lack of, living in a certain zip code, right? That matters. But also knowing that you have someone that's going to bat for you, whether it's a guidance counselor, a principal, whatever the case may be, or even your parent, if they're not there, have open communication with the staff members, you know? Danny, when I can say I went through public school my whole life, right? And a lot of it had to do with like, obviously, you know, my mom couldn't afford private school, which was fine, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't get a great education. You know what I mean? Like you just have to implement all of these different resources, like going to the library on your own, being a go-getter, speaking to people, getting involved. You know, I became the senior class president in high school, and it changed my life completely. All of a sudden I had resources coming. I had principals telling me, which college are you going to, Rita? You know what I mean? And not necessarily my mother was asking me about college, is everybody else is like asking me like, where are you going to college? I'm like, college? I didn't even think of it because, you know, you're thinking of like high school, you're getting a job. Your parents don't know the system. They're coming from
They
another
don't.
country. They don't. So once I started tapping into all those resources, I started realizing, I'm like, I told my mother, I'm like, Mom, I'm going to college. And she looked at me like, oh, this is great. You know, I was her youngest child and she was happy. And I found a way to get there because I had a great, like, guidance counselor. You know what I mean? I had a great
You had a
principal.
great
So
support
I
system.
had a great support system within the school too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have those type of resources and if you get involved in student council or anything like that, do those things. Like, you know, I know it gets frowned upon, you know, like, oh, you're corny because you're part, you're the class president or you're just like, I didn't
I
really
always say to my
care.
kids, corny is good.
Right? Corny is
Corny
good.
is
Yes.
good.
Corny is
It's
good. I
good.
agree.
Like my
I
kids are like,
agree.
this is corny. I'm like, you're gonna
Right.
find at the end, it's good.
It's good. And I'm telling my boys the same thing. I said, you may think this is corny or whatever, but it's good. You know what I mean? Like, I keep them in programs. I keep them, you know, like right now they're playing soccer. They've been playing soccer since the age of 3. And I was lucky because during the whole pandemic, I enrolled them into an academy. I mean, this academy is based out of Spain. They played throughout the whole pandemic when everything was getting shut down, you know, based on regulations and the city and things like that. They were playing. So that was another outlet for them, Danny. Like, you know, they weren't just confined to the house. They weren't just in front of their computer. And I have a husband too that's very active. Like my husband, we met in college. He was part of like, you know, he got a scholarship to go to Southern with me, and he helped mold them just as much as I am. So when I was tired, he would take the baton and, you know, and get them going. And we did it collectively as a family because we knew that these are our kids. Like we want them to succeed. We had to be there for them. And not
So what
only
do
was
you
it
what
good
do
for
you
them, but for
tell
that. Yeah.
people who didn't
Hmm.
have that extra person in their home helping them
Right.
navigate? Because there's a lot of women out there, like your mom, who were
Right.
single parents. I can't even imagine,
Right.
you know, how,
Yes.
because the load is on you. It's all on you.
Right. It's all on you. But like I said before, have your children, like ask your children questions when they get home from school, even if you're not involved, like, who are you hanging out with? What are you doing? You know when your children's in trouble. You will get a call from the principal's office or from the dean. You will know.
You
So
know what's
try
so
to
funny?
mold
Like my
them.
principal
Yeah.
calls me all the time, and the first thing she
Right.
says is, "They're not in
Yeah.
trouble. They're not in trouble." I'm like,
Right.
okay, okay,
Right.
just
Yeah.
because I'm getting
That's
a
a good
call from
thing.
you. And what's
Right.
so cool about what you're
Hmm.
saying is, I
Yeah.
have a personal relationship with my kids' school. I am
That's
so
fantastic.
involved to the
Right.
point that if something
Right.
happens in that school day, I don't just get a
Yes.
note. I get
Right.
a phone call. And that's
Absolutely.
how much they care about my children, because I've made
Yes.
it a priority for them to see
Yep.
that I care about my kids. So I need you to care about
Exactly.
my babies too. So they respect me
Exactly.
enough where something is
Right.
going on at school. Like one
Right.
time,
Yeah.
London didn't pick her sister, and
Right.
then Giselle was like, "You're supposed to pick family first." And then she stomped out of the classroom and was crying. I
Right.
was like, "Oh my
Something
god."
mediocre.
And then the
Yeah.
principal calls me and was like, "I just want to let you know
Right.
your daughter is in my room with me at the principal
Right.
office. I'm
Yeah.
taking care of her like she's my child. She's a
Right.
little upset that her sister didn't pick her." And she was like,
Right.
"Go have a conversation with London because she's supposed to pick her sister." I
Right.
was
Look at
like,
that.
"Yeah, she's
That's
supposed to pick
adorable.
her sister. What is she
Yeah.
thinking?" But
Right.
I try to tell parents
Yeah.
all the
Be
time,
involved. Yeah.
even if you don't have time to be a
Yes.
part of your school, make your
Right.
presence known.
Absolutely. It can be as simple as an email, Danny. It can be simple as a phone call. I will call my son's school and say, "Hey, Michelle, know the names of the people in the office. They will help you significantly." I mean, I have some, luckily my boys have they have wonderful school. They're in a wonderful school. and I don't feel like I cannot call anyone there. You have to feel comfortable. There were times that I didn't, but you have to make it a priority to show them that these are my children and you should care about my children the way I care about them. And if you don't care about them, it's like, what is the point? Why are you teaching? Do you
And
know what
I
I mean?
really feel like once a
So,
kid
yeah,
knows that you care about them,
right.
I think they
I
strive to
agree.
do better.
I agree. I agree because that's like a parent that's inside the school that's like that cares about them and that's pushing them to do better. And trust me, they will. And they will call you. Like I said, a simple email. I like to text my like my teachers, they're very accessible. Text them, I send them cards, like let's say it's Thanksgiving, a nice written note. Thank you for, your services. Earl had a great day today. Or even let them know, put a note in there. Earl didn't have a good day yesterday. He didn't sleep well. So
Oh yeah,
they're
I do
so
that too.
they're
Like
aware.
I'd be like, the
Exactly.
girls came home late.
Communication.
So
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be. I text them like early in the morning, like,
Right.
"Hey, just bear with them. It's not their fault. It's my
Right.
responsibility. They came home
Yeah.
late. They're gonna be
Right.
irritable. So please bear with them and don't take it personally." I have that much of a communication with
Right.
their teachers
That's yeah.
because it's all about
Right.
teamwork.
It is, Danny. And no one's perfect. And you know what? And if they make you feel like you're less than a parent or whatever, they're not a good fit for you. They should have the heart of gold. If you're around children, you should be able to understand that, kids are not gonna have a good day, parents are not gonna have a good day. It should be like a team effort. Like it should be their village or whatever the case may be. But yeah. And you hit the nail on the head by saying communicate. You can communicate anyway, which way, and which teachers are approachable, which ones are not, and that's okay. Not everybody's going to be for you. Don't take it personal. And that's another thing. I don't take anything personal. I used to take everything personal. I was like, what did
Even
I
my
just do?
kids
What did
take
I
it
get? Yeah.
personal. It's like amazing how
Right.
we don't really pick our teachers because
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
the kid might do better with one teacher versus the other. Because if they're
Absolutely.
not equally yoked or have the same personalities or have the same care,
Right.
sometimes
Right.
it's not them not learning effectively. Sometimes it's just the energy of what the teacher is bringing into the classroom,
Absolutely.
which means a
Absolutely.
lot. So you know what
It
I
does.
do? What I found out that my
Hmm.
parents do in my district,
Right.
they ask around. They go,
Yeah.
"Oh, my kid's going to the fourth grade. Tell me which is
Right.
the best teacher."
Oh,
And you know what we
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah. Yes.
next?
Yeah.
The principal. I want
This is
Johnny to be
one.
in this class. There's
Right.
so
Right.
many
Right.
things.
Right.
Like
There's so many
I was
things. You
like,
just
"You
have,
can do that?" And they were like, "Yeah, you
of
can. You
course.
just have to know that you can do that."
Right. That's what it is. And I think that's what it is, not knowing and being comfortable. Like I said, I had a parent that, okay, I'm dropping Rita at school. I will see, not that my mom didn't care. She just didn't know the system. You know what I
No, we're
mean?
here. We're here.
So, yeah. So it's just like, you don't know the system. You kind of like just trust everybody because we come from countries, like I come from Cape Verde, you come from Haiti, right? Where, small villages, you drop your kid off, everybody's safe, everything's good. No, you
Because
don't
it
know
took
what's
a
ever happened.
village. It took
It's a
honestly a
village.
village to take care. Like when I was growing up in
Exactly.
Brooklyn, it was
Yeah.
the whole block raising us.
Right.
Because even
I
though my
agree.
parents worked 2 or 3 jobs, the
Yeah.
whole block was checking to make sure
Yeah.
every kid was doing the right thing. It was
Exactly.
like a family. It was like a
Exactly.
family, and now it's like it's
Yeah.
so sad because even where
Right.
I live, it's like sometimes
Mm.
I just wave at my neighbor because we don't have the
Right.
same kids in the same age group, and because the
Right.
kids are not running the streets like we used to run the streets, that it's
Right.
hard to really know your neighbors and for them to really know your
Mm.
kids
Right. Yeah. Right.
because of the craziness of this new world. You don't really trust
Mhm.
anybody.
Mhm.
But I wanted you to
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
secrets to how you can
Right.
navigate through the school system because a lot of people
Right.
don't know. There are
Right.
secrets and it is a political thing. I feel like everything is a
Right.
political thing.
Yeah. I think you have to get involved in a PTA, even if you're not part of a PTA member, definitely like go on, they have Zoom meetings where you
They
can you
have
can
Zoom
you
now
can
because
Zoom,
before the
yeah. Yep.
PTA meetings
They
used to
didn't have
be
that.
every first
Right.
Wednesday at 10 a.m. I'm like, who's coming
Right.
at 10 a.m. every first Wednesday of the month? But now, because of the
Exactly.
pandemic,
Right.
now they include it in Zoom. So even if you're at work, make your
Right.
voice
And you have a
heard. Let
phone.
them know
Right.
these are my children. Because once they know
Exactly.
these are your
Yeah.
children, they're
Yeah.
gonna take a little bit better care of your kids. You
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And also being a class mom, like you don't have to do much. Like I was a class mom for all of my for all the kids' grades. I was part of the PTA. There's even a board that kind of like they implement the curriculum throughout the school. There was that as well. So if you're getting involved in all of these different committees and being known and being seen, you're going to navigate. You're going to be able to navigate your kids through the system, you know. And like I said
And
before, it may
also
be
get to
hard,
know
but
other
yeah,
parents in your
right.
children's classroom.
Yes.
Because
Oh my
sometimes
God,
if
that's
you
important.
can't be
Yeah.
there physically because something happens, you can
Yeah.
always call that parent and say, what did I miss?
Right. Yep. And you know what we do, Danny, at my school? We have a group text. Like when my son was yeah, when they were doing like the virtual schooling, 17 members, 17 parents, all mothers texting each other. We're gonna do a play date. We're meeting here. You know, this got us through the pandemic. Did you guys see this? Like what, you know, we were keeping each other in the loop of what was going on. They all went trick-or-treating together. I mean, we made it like a known thing. Like it seems like in my son's school, it seems like the parents are running the school, which is great. You know, the
But
teachers
that's how
were
it
great
should
too. That's how it
be.
should be. Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely. If you can do it,
we're paying
yeah,
your
yeah,
taxes, a voice
right.
should be heard. Like we're paying.
Absolutely,
I had a meeting with the
yeah,
superintendent. I was like,
right,
I help in paying your taxes, your pension,
right,
everyone else's teacher. You're going to
right.
hear my voice. My voice
Oh,
matters.
absolutely, yeah.
You know what
And
I
that's
mean?
what
And
it
I
is.
want parents to
You're present.
understand that your
Yeah,
voice matters. You might not feel
that's
like you're
what it is.
smart
Yeah.
or whatever, and you feel like,
Mm-hmm.
see, a
Right.
title doesn't affect me at all. Like I
Yes.
never bow down to title. I could
Right.
talk to any
Yeah.
president and he's one of my friends. Like I don't look at titles to make
Absolutely.
it seem like you're better
Yeah.
than me. I
Oh,
look at
absolutely.
titles to see like, okay, you've
Yeah.
had opportunities to get to where you are, but that does
Yeah.
not make me less
Of
of
a
a
person.
person. So
Oh,
my voice should be
absolutely.
heard as much as your voice should be heard.
Yeah.
Titles don't dictate you're better than me or you
Absolutely.
know more than me.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, Danny. I treat the janitor like I treat a CEO. I'm
That's what
sorry.
our
Like
parents taught us.
that's what our
You
parents
want to
taught
know
us.
why? Because a lot of
Thank
them were
you.
janitors
Right. And they were
and they
janitors
worked
and they were different
themselves.
things, but you know what it is? It wasn't even about it's just a human factor for me. It's not even about you being a janitor or whatever. It's just a human factor and having like some type of humanity for people. Nowadays people are so disrespectful. Like if I'm driving, I see someone begging for a dollar or whatever, I'll give them money. I don't care. If I see someone that's struggling outside of any facility in the city, I will stop. My kids will like laugh at me, but I was like, if I like, let's say that someone is begging Danny on a highway, not in a highway, but on a street, and I pass them, I will go around the block. I will make sure if there's change in my pocket, I'll come around, I'll give it to them. Mom, you do that? Yes, I do that. And I want my kids to see that too, because
Yeah.
I'm teaching them to be human and to
You're
treat
teaching
everybody
them
with
to have
respect.
empathy.
Empathy, yes, no matter what, because you know what? Everybody, you know, like I tell my kids too, I said, you could have all of these different things, and then if it gets taken away, that could happen to you. You know what I mean? Like I'm big on karma. I'm big on like, you know, what you do to other people, it'll get done to you. You know, my culture, my mom has taught me to
I'm
always
good
give.
at treat
Yeah,
others the way you want to be treated.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
feel like if we just took that one
Hmm.
sentence and each human in this world just did that one
Yeah,
sentence, we would have peace on this earth. Because
I
no
agree.
human wants to be crapped on. No
I
human wants to be
agree.
hurt.
Yeah.
No human wants to not be seen.
Yes.
Every human wants to be heard. Every
Yep.
human wants to be loved. Every
Right.
human wants to be taken care of. If we just
I
all
agree.
just took that right out of the
Right.
book, the text, treat others the way
Exactly.
you want to be treated, this
Yeah.
world would be at peace.
I agree, Danny. I agree, Danny. And just to give you another thing, you know, like if I see someone that's homeless begging, I told my boys, I said, that could be God testing you. You know what I mean? Did you just drive by that person and I give them your change? You know, God comes in all
Because
disguises.
God knows
Yeah.
everything. God knows your
Yes.
heart. God knows your intent. You can
Yep.
fool humans. I tell my kids
Yeah.
all the time, you can fool humans, but the
Right.
person you need to worry about it is
Yeah.
God.
It's
And
God. He
then you
sees
can't go the
everything.
next day and pray to him and ask for something when he
Right.
literally saw you walk by someone who wanted change just to get
Exactly.
coffee. It's
Right.
not my it's not my
Yeah.
place to judge that person. It's not my place
Right.
to say, well,
I
he's going to go
agree.
smoke crack. I'm not going to give him that money. My only
Right.
job is to do the right thing. treat
Right.
him the way I would want to be treated.
Want to be
Whatever
treated.
choices he makes after that or she makes after that, that's up to
Right.
that person.
Right. I agree, Danny. I agree 100%. And honestly, and I think that's going to give them good karma too. I think a lot of my life was based on good karma. You know what I mean? Like, I treat people with respect, they treat me with respect. And that's it. Like, I don't do the non integrity thing. I'm not about that. You know what I mean? I don't do the, oh, when people have like this circle and you're not allowing somebody to come into the circle and all this. I don't do that. I think it's very childish. It's very immature. And a lot of people do that. Like,
I'm very,
we,
you know what it is? That's how we
yeah,
met. We're very
right.
inclusive. Like,
Exactly.
I think that's why I
Exactly.
never joined any groups because I
Right.
wanted to be available to anybody and
I
everybody.
agree. That's a
I didn't want to
beautiful
feel
thing.
like if I join a group, it's like, oh, you're
Right.
in this group, so you can't talk to
Right.
so and so. I'm like, what do you mean I can't
Right.
talk to so and so? Like, this is
Yeah.
just a group, but it doesn't mean that I
Right.
block every human outside of my energy because of
Because of
this
that.
group. So that's why
Right.
I like to just be on my own sometimes so I can
Yeah.
navigate through
Right.
human beings.
Well, that's beautiful. And that's why you have this wonderful show. Like, you've known me for so many years. And I'm sure you've had other guests that you've known for so many years. And you're not judgmental. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be. Thou shalt not judge, right? If you follow the Bible, if you follow the scripture and God, like, you should walk like God did, like Jesus did. You
Everyone
know what I
should
mean?
walk. I
Everyone
mean, I
should
know that
walk
some
like
people
it.
don't believe in
Right.
God. So whatever you believe in,
Whatever they
I
believe
do
in.
believe
Yeah.
there's a higher person, higher whatever.
Right.
You should just be a good person.
I agree,
Whether you
Danny.
believe in God or this
Or the
person, that,
tree, if you're a tree
whatever
hugger.
you're being, just
And
be
I'm
a
not.
good person.
I agree. I agree. Listen, be a good person. Just treat people with respect and that'll come back to you. That's it. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? And it's not, and I know we've talked about pandemic, navigating through it. I know we're in a process where everybody's scared and fearful. But if you look at Psalms 90, I think it's 91, about the snare of the snake and diseases and things like that. I'm not scared of the pandemic. I'm not scared of anything. You know what I mean? That's just me. That's just my nature. I feel like, yeah, I feel bad for all the people that have lost lives or if they have health issues or anything like that. But we have to have like a higher belief in what's going on right now, with the world, with society, with our kids. Like, I looked at this pandemic with my kids and I like, you know what? I'm gonna bond with my boys. I was lucky enough to be home, work virtually. I'm gonna bond with them. Like, that time went by so quickly. I had so much fun with them. It was challenging at times too, though, Danny. But you know what? I would never get that time back. So you have to take everything as it comes, take it one day at a time. Don't make yourself crazy. Sometimes shut off that news, because there's so much coming on so much coming on. And it's like, just be positive and believe in God. Like, my thing was like, I always believed in God. That doesn't change. Walk the right
But
path and you should be fine.
I
I
just want to
think.
say, I've been trying to get you on this show forever. You have blessed me for
I'm glad
2022.
you too,
Thank
girl.
you, most amazing
Oh,
Rita. You
you
are the most
too.
amazing mom that I know,
Oh,
especially with your boys. Thank you
so are
so much for
you.
coming to. I'm proud of you,
Oh,
sis. I
me
wish
too.
you blessings for you and your loved ones in 2022, and I
Oh,
know I will see you soon.
you will,
Thank you so
Danny.
much.
Thank you for having me, okay? And you
Thank
have a
you.
good new
Bye,
year.
and
Bye
Happy New
bye.
Year,
You too,
everyone.
dear. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. Bye.